Okay, so everybody, we are talking about the urinary system. So today we'll finish the last part of the urinary system. In today's lecture, first we'll talk about the filtration pressure and filtration rate. You know that kidneys produce urine by filtration. So which pressure causes the filtration? That is the filtration pressure. We'll see that. Then we'll talk about the Renin-Angiotensin system or Renin-Angiotensin system. This Renin-Angiotensin system is very important because through this system your blood pressure is controlled. The blood pressure is regulated by Renin-Angiotensin system. Then we'll talk about the other two processes of urine formation. In last class, I mentioned there are three processes of urine formation. One is filtration, then reabsorption, and third is secretion. So we'll talk about the reabsorption and secretion. Then we'll talk about a mechanism that is called the counter current mechanism of urine formation. What is that? We'll see. We'll also talk about the dilute and concentrated urine formation. You know that urine concentration is not always same. Sometimes our urinary system produces dilute urine, sometimes produces concentrated urine. So who regulates that? We'll see that. Then we'll talk about the urinary bladder and urethra and hormones produced by the kidney and hormones work on the kidneys. Two different things. So kidneys produce couple of important hormones. So we'll see which hormones are produced by the kidneys, and some hormones are produced outside of the kidney but works on the kidneys. So we'll see which hormones come from outside and work on the kidneys. First, you know that for urine formation, three processes are needed: filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. You know that afferent arteriole forms a tuft of capillary or ball of capillary that is called the glomerulus, and then efferent arteriole. So this is afferent arteriole, this is glomerulus, and this is efferent arteriole. So blood enters into glomerulus through the afferent arteriole and gets out through efferent arteriole. Exit E. Arrives A. Yes, to remember. Okay, then you have the nephron, the part of the nephron that covers the glomerulus like a cup, that is called the Bowman's capsule. Also known as glomerular capsule. And then you know the proximal convoluted tubule, then group of Henle, then you have the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. Okay, so when the blood passes through the glomerulus, it stays for a long time because glomerulus is a very long tube. It's within a ball. So blood circulates for a long time here. And during that time, filtration takes place. That means from the blood, water and other chemicals get out and enter into the first part of the nephron, and that is the filtration. From the glomerulus, water and other chemicals get out through the filtration membrane. So now you see filtration membrane has two layers. You can see here. One is the wall of the capillary glomerulus and another is the Bowman's capsule. So through these two layers, water and electrolytes, chemicals including the electrolytes, must pass to enter into the nephron. So this is the filtration membrane, consists of those two layers. Then after the filtration occurs here, so this is the first process, process number 1, filtration. We also say glomerular filtration because it happens from the glomerulus. Then the fluid starts to pass through the nephron like this, and while the fluid passes through the nephron, through the wall of the nephron, water and some electrolytes get back into the body. Leaving the nephron means going back into the body. Remember, this is very important here. Outside of the nephron is the body, tissue. So, some water and other chemicals get out to enter back into the body. And that process is called reabsorption, taken back into the body. So, reabsorption is what? Taken back into the body from the nephron. So, this is process number 2, reabsorption. So, now remember, anything is reabsorbed, that means going back into the body. Anything is remaining in the nephron will become urine. So, inside the nephron, whatever you have will become what? Urine. And reabsorption, that means going back into the body. And the last process, that is called the secretion, which is just opposite of reabsorption. So, in some places of the nephron, what happens? Some chemicals from the body enters into the nephron. So, just opposite of reabsorption, that is called secretion. So, now I can say if secretion of anything occurs, that means it is getting out from the body as urine. If reabsorption occurs, going back into the body. So opposite. Now if hydrogen ion concentration in your body increases, in your blood increases, your blood will become what? Acidic. You know that, right? Hydrogen ion concentration is high. In that case, what happens? Secretion of hydrogen ion will occur. Because secretion will take the hydrogen ion from the body to the nephron, which will get out from the body. As I told you, secretion means that will get out from the body. If in your body dehydration occurs, in that case, water should not leave the body, right? Your kidney will try to retain the water. In that case, reabsorption of water will occur. That means the kidney will try to take the water back from the urine. So those are the three processes of urine formation. Now, the pressure that causes the filtration. So during filtration, water and other chemicals must go from the blood to the nephron this way, not in opposite way. So that means the pressure must be higher here and lower here, from high pressure to low pressure. That pressure difference is about 10 millimeter of mercury. That is the filtration pressure, okay, that causes the filtration. So the difference from here and here is 10 millimeter of mercury that causes the filtration. Now, the 10 millimeter of mercury is the net filtration pressure, but in this area, three pressures work, and those three pressures work at the same time. We'll see what are those three pressures work here to create 10 millimeter of mercury filtration pressure. Three pressures are glomerular hydrostatic pressure, colloidal osmotic pressure, and capsular hydrostatic pressure. Those three pressures work in this part. So here in this picture you see the blue arrows are showing the glomerular hydrostatic pressure. That pressure does what? Try to push the water and chemicals from the blood to the nephron. So this way. That's the glomerular hydrostatic pressure. Pressure inside the glomerulus. And that is trying to push the fluid that way. And another pressure is colloidal osmotic pressure. This pressure is opposite of glomerular hydrostatic pressure. This way. And the third one, capsular hydrostatic pressure, which is also opposite of glomerular hydrostatic pressure. So this is capsular hydrostatic pressure. So now you see two pressures are opposing the glomerular hydrostatic pressure, but the glomerular hydrostatic pressure is much higher than those two pressures. Glomerular hydrostatic pressure, that is trying to push the fluid out from the blood, is 55 millimeter of mercury. So glomerular hydrostatic pressure is 55 millimeter of mercury. Now we'll see the opposing pressures. The colloidal osmotic pressure is 30 millimeter of mercury, one opposing 30, and another is only 15. So 30 and 15 together is 45. 45 millimeter is trying to stop it, but 55 is trying to push the fluid out. So 55 is here. So now if we subtract the opposing pressures, 30 plus 15, these are trying to oppose, and this is trying to cause the filtration. The difference is 10 millimeter of mercury. Okay? So that's the pressure, net filtration pressure causing the filtration here. You see 10 millimeter of mercury. So this pressure alone is higher than the combined pressure of other two. So that's how the filtration occurs. Now, how much filtration occurs in each minute by two kidneys together? That is the glomerular filtration rate. How much filtration occurs in 1 minute in two kidneys together, and that volume is 120 to 125 milliliter per minute. So in 1 minute, two kidneys cause this amount of filtration. But remember, after filtration, the fluid passes through the nephron, right? And what happens, about 99% of filtrate is taken back into the body. That means is reabsorbed. So now simple way, if I say, if the filtration here is 100 milliliter, 99% volume will be taken back into the body by reabsorption. That means when it will get out here, only will get 1 milliliter. 99 will be taken back into the body. Okay. Secretion occurs very small amount. Okay. So now three factors directly control the filtration. One is the total surface area, another is the filtration membrane permeability, and net filtration pressure. Very simple. I told you that the net filtration pressure is 10 millimeter of mercury. Now, if for any reason this pressure increases to 16, then what will happen? The net filtration pressure is now here 15, 5 millimeter more. So, more pressure difference, more filtration. If the pressure difference is 10, normal amount of filtration will occur. If pressure difference is 15, more filtration will occur. If less, then less filtration will occur. So that is the net filtration pressure, 10 Fp. That simply determines how much filtration will occur. That is one. Number two, if we go from the bottom, filtration membrane permeability. I have mentioned that filtration membrane is formed by these two membranes, capillary wall and capsular wall. Now, let's think about two conditions. This is person A, this is person B. In this person's filtration membrane has pores like this. This is healthy filtration membrane, and in this person's filtration membrane, many pores got blocked or narrowed. Okay, some are open. So in this case, it can happen by infection in the kidney. So the filtration membrane is bad. In this one, this is healthy filtration membrane. So you see, through this filtration membrane, filtration will occur easily and more. So that is another thing, the permeability of the filtration membrane. Total surface area. Now, let's think another condition. This is the glomerulus of one person, and if I make it straight and flat, this capillary portion, it is like this, and another glomerulus is smaller, so you have the length of capillary is shorter in this case. So if I make it flat, it will be smaller than this one. So, although the pores are healthy in both cases, okay? But since the surface area is more here, more filtration will occur. Here less surface area, less filtration will occur. So those are three factors directly controls the amount of filtration. the surface area, the permeability, and the pressure that causes the filtration. Okay, now we'll see what happens after the filtration. After filtration, the fluid starts to move through the nephron. This first part you already know is called the proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule, because it is convoluted, not straight. And this is the first part, that's why it is called proximal. What happens here, about 65% of everything is reabsorbed. That means water as well as other chemicals are reabsorbed. How much? 65% volume. So in this part, 65% of everything is reabsorbed. Now you tell me, if filtration occurred here, 100 milliliter of mercury in this part, everybody look at this. I will ask you a question. If 100 milliliter, I need to make sure if you understand, 100 milliliter filtration has occurred, how much will be reabsorbed here? 65%, right? So when it will arrive here, the fluid, how much fluid is remaining here? 35 milliliter, right? 35 milliliter, because 65% has been reabsorbed. So only 35 milliliter percent is here, right? Okay. So a big, large amount of fluid is being taken back into the body. Make sense? Reabsorption means what? Going back into the body. Then this part, the loop of handling. Now there is another thing here. 65%, I said everything will be equally reabsorbed. That means what? The volume will go down a lot, but concentration will remain same. Very simple. Like you have solution here. This is a beaker. You have solution, glucose. This is very important to understand the urinary function. Okay. So this is a solution of glucose. Now you tell me, if I only take water out from here, only I am taking what? Water out. So the volume will go and concentration will go what? If I take only water out, glucose is there still. So concentration will go up. Make sense? So if I only take water out, those two things will happen. Volume will go down, concentration will go up. Now, if I only take the glucose out, water is remaining there. I am taking what? The glucose out. What will happen? The concentration. Concentration will go down. Make sense? Because I am taking the solute out only. So you have to understand this to understand the urinary function. What is going on here? I told you that everything will be equally reabsorbed. That means you are taking the glucose as well as water, both out simultaneously. The volume will go down, but concentration will remain same. Make sense? Because I am taking both equally out. So that is happening here. Then the fluid will start to pass through the loop of handling. This is the loop. It has two limbs, descending limb and ascending limb. First the fluid will go down through the descending limb, and this part will only let the water out. Now you must be able to understand. In this part, when the fluid is passing through, who is only getting out? Water. only water reabsorption occurs in this part. So the volume will go what? You are taking the water out, so volume will go. You are taking the water out from here. You are taking the water out, so volume will go. You are taking water out, the volume will go what? Down. Why I need to show like this? You should be able to know. So if you take the water out, the volume will go down, right? How about the concentration here? Up. Is it clear? So while the fluid is passing through the descending limb of loop of Henle, who is only leaving? Water. That means the volume is going down inside, but concentration is going up. And when it will reach here, all the way to the bottom of the loop of Henle, the volume will significantly go down, makes sense? And concentration will significantly go up. Because everywhere water is being reabsorbed here. So the concentration is very high here. High concentration, okay, in the fluid. If you measure the concentration in this part, concentration of fluid, it is about between 100 to 300 milliosmol. This is the unit of concentration. So only 100 to 300 milliosmol. But when the fluid is all the way here, the concentration here is 1200 to 1400 milliosmol. So you see several times higher here because water is being reabsorbed. It is clear? Water is getting out. Now we will see the ascending limb of loop of Henle. When the fluid is going up, in this part, you must remember, water is not reabsorbed. Sodium, chloride, and potassium, those electrolytes or chemicals only are reabsorbed in the ascending limb, but no water in this limb. In this limb only water, in this limb no water but solutes, sodium, potassium, chloride. Now you tell me, if you take the solute out only but no water, the concentration will go down. Remember that? Water is remaining there, you are taking the solute out. So as the fluid will go up, the concentration will go down again. And it will come close to this low concentration because only solutes are living here. So that's what happens in the loop of Henle. Now this is the distal convoluted tubule. What happens here? In this part, so this is the distal convoluted tubule, this part. In this part, reabsorption of sodium takes place. Reabsorption of sodium. But remember, the sodium takes the water with it. So sodium and water. Water always binds with sodium here and gets out. So in distal convoluted tubule, sodium is reabsorbed but it carries water with it. Okay. So now if more reabsorption occurs here, more water will go back to the body, blood volume will increase but urine volume will decrease. Make sense? Because more water is going back to the body. So body means eventually it will go to the blood volume will go up. Make sense? But urine volume will be less. because anything is remaining here will become the urine. Is it clear? Okay. So this part is important. Now a hormone works here, distal convoluted tubule. This hormone is very important. This hormone is called aldosterone. Aldosterone is the hormone that works here and helps in reabsorption of sodium and water. This aldosterone comes from the adrenal gland. You must remember, adrenal gland sits on the kidney. Remember that? Suprarenal gland or adrenal gland sitting on the kidney. So from the adrenal gland, aldosterone is secreted, and that aldosterone goes to the kidney and works in which part of the nephron? Distal convoluted tubule. Is it clear? And does what? Reabsorption of sodium and water. Now you tell me, take your time. If more aldosterone is secreted, more aldosterone will work here and will cause more reabsorption of sodium and water. Is it clear? So if more aldosterone is released, the blood volume will go up or down? Up, because more reabsorption of water will occur, right? Water is going back to the body more, so blood volume will go up. If blood volume goes up, blood pressure will go up. We have talked about that, right? Blood pressure. So more volume of blood, more pressure, because blood pressure is the pressure given by the blood. So aldosterone increases the blood volume, and that causes the increase of the blood pressure. Very important hormone. Okay, then the fluid enters into the collecting duct. So this is the distal convoluted tubule, because it is convoluted, and this is the collecting duct. Now, while the fluid passes through this last part, water is reabsorbed. Now, how much water will be reabsorbed here is controlled by another hormone that is called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. You have heard about this hormone. This hormone works mostly on the collecting duct and regulates the reabsorption of water. So more ADH means more water will be reabsorbed. More water reabsorption means more water is going back into the body, right? That means blood volume will go up, blood pressure will go up. So antidiuretic hormone comes from the pituitary gland. You know, posterior pituitary produces ADH and oxytocin. You have learned about that in ANP1. So antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, is secreted from the posterior pituitary in your brain, and it goes through blood to your kidneys far away and works very specifically on this part of the nephron of the kidney. So you see how beautifully the hormonal control is occurring. The hormone is coming from outside. This hormone is coming from where? Adrenal gland, right? Sitting on the kidney. And this hormone is coming from posterior pituitary in your brain, right? They are coming from outside, but working on the nephrons of the kidneys. You have million of nephrons, right? 1 million in each kidney, working on the nephrons, those microscopic tubes, but very specific segment, right? Aldosterone is working here, ADH is working here. So how beautifully the hormone is controlling the reabsorption of those chemicals. So now you got the idea. If I divide the whole nephron into two parts, like divide here. The last part is heavily controlled by what? Hormones. Make sense? Hormones. No hormonal action is in this first part. Make sense? No hormone. So the control of hormone is in the last part or last half of the nephron. First half is fixed. How much reabsorption will occur here? 65%, right? That is fixed because no hormone is working there. So no regulation of hormone. It is fixed. Loop of Henle, no hormone working, so fixed. Now, how much will water and sodium will be reabsorbed here? That depends on this hormone, right? How much water will be reabsorbed in collecting duct? That depends on this hormone. So, this part is variable part, this part is fixed part. Make sense? So, your urine volume, blood volume, those are controlled by or regulated by the last part of the nephron, where the hormones work. Now, if due to, for example, posterior pituitary tumor has destroyed your posterior pituitary, so antidiuretic hormone will not be secreted. Make sense? Because posterior pituitary secretes the antidiuretic hormone, right? So antidiuretic hormone will not be produced, will not work in this part of the nephron. So what will happen? Water reabsorption will be stopped because ADH causes the water reabsorption. Make sense? So water reabsorption will not occur in this part. So if water reabsorption doesn't occur, water will not go back into the body, right? Will remain here and will get out as urine. So no ADH means no water reabsorption here. That means what? The volume of urine will go up. Make sense? Volume of you will produce more urine, and that condition is called diabetes insipidus. This is not the diabetes related to sugar or insulin. This one is related to antidiuretic hormone due to lack, or is a clinical condition in which the person produces plenty of urine, high volume and frequent urination due to posterior pituitary disorder or tumor that causes decreased production of antidiuretic hormone or ADH. So now you got the idea how urine is formed. Now we'll talk about a system that is called the Renin-Angiotensin system. This Renin-Angiotensin system is responsible for the regulation of blood pressure. Now you must remember, in last lecture I mentioned, and you have seen also in the lab models, this is the afferent arteriole and this is the distal convoluted tubule. These two come close to each other, and in the wall of afferent arteriole you have highly specialized cells. You must remember, these cells are called the granular cells. These granular cells secrete a very important chemical that is called what? Renin. So granular cells, the granular cells are present in the wall of the afferent arteriole, and these cells produce renin. Also, you must remember in the wall of distal convoluted tubule here, you have macula densa, another type of special cells. Okay, so macula. If you see last class lecture, you will find it. Macula densa. Anyway, so you have, this is the afferent arteriole, so you have blood here inside, and renin is secreted here into the blood. Okay, and that renin is converted to, the renin converts a chemical which is present in the blood. That chemical is called angiotensinogen. Angiotensinogen is a protein present in the blood, and the renin that is secreted by the granular cells does what? Converts the angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Okay, and then angiotensin 1 is converted to angiotensin 2. Okay, and this conversion is helped by an enzyme that is called angiotensin converting enzyme, or ACE, angiotensin converting enzyme. So this is inactive protein, not active, inactive protein, angiotensinogen. And angiotensin 1 is partially active, angiotensin is fully active. So this is the active chemical, angiotensin 2. And this angiotensin 2 goes everywhere through the blood and causes generalized vasoconstriction. Generalized means throughout the body, not localized, just opposite of localized. So generalized goes everywhere and does what? Vasoconstriction, constriction of the blood vessels throughout the body. Make sense? And now you all know, we have learned from cardiovascular system, constriction of blood vessels will increase the blood pressure, right? So that's how renin helps to increase the blood pressure, because angiotensin 2 causes generalized vasoconstriction. Okay, that increases the blood pressure. So it increases the blood pressure. Okay, so you see how your kidney helps to regulate the blood pressure by producing renin. Also, you have seen the hormones work on the kidneys. They reabsorb the water, increase the blood volume, and increase the blood pressure. So in different ways, your kidneys help to regulate the blood pressure. Okay, so that's the renin-angiotensin system. The mean arterial pressure, you must remember, diastolic plus 1/3 of pulse pressure. Remember that? So mean arterial pressure, if the mean arterial pressure goes below 80 millimeter of mercury, that triggers the secretion of renin from the granular cells. Angiotensin 2 causes the generalized vasoconstriction, but it has other functions. So number one, you see here, constrict the arteriolar smooth muscle. That increases the blood pressure. Vasoconstriction. Number two, stimulates the reabsorption of sodium. And you remember, when sodium is reabsorbed, water in the distal convoluted tubule, water also taken out. So that increases the blood volume. Also, angiotensin II directly stimulate the adrenal gland to release aldosterone. We have talked about aldosterone. That hormone comes from the adrenal gland. That increases the sodium and water reabsorption, increases the blood volume, increases the blood pressure. Stimulates the hypothalamus to release the antidiuretic hormone. Now you know that who releases the antidiuretic hormone? Posterior pituitary, not hypothalamus. But hypothalamus stimulates the pituitary. From NP1, you must remember, I showed you like this. This is hypothalamus, just above the pituitary. This is pituitary, this is posterior pituitary, this is anterior pituitary. So hypothalamus regulates the pituitary gland. So your ADH is secreted from posterior pituitary, antidiuretic hormone, right? But angiotensin II stimulates the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus will send more signal to the pituitary. So more ADH will be released. So that will reabsorb more water, blood volume will go up, increase the blood pressure. So just know that a generalized vasoconstriction as well as angiotensin II stimulates the adrenal gland to release aldosterone, stimulates the posterior pituitary through hypothalamus to release ADH. Those two hormones work on the kidney. You already know that. Milliosmol is the unit of concentration of fluid. I have talked about that. Now, another interesting thing, that is the counter current mechanism. I will explain it in simple way. You remember the proximal convoluted tubule, then you have the loop of Henle, then distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. So this is the loop of Henle, and a capillary which looks like a ladder. We have talked about that. Has limbs like this. So this capillary is called vasa recta. Vasa recta. Ladder shaped capillary around the loop of Henle. So this is the loop of Henle. This is the vasa recta. These two structures together cause the counter current mechanism. What is this? You already know, just 3 minutes ago I have talked about this. The fluid passes this way, first through the descending limb and then goes up to the ascending limb. Now you help me. When the fluid passes through the descending limb of loop of Henle, who is reabsorbed here? Only water. Water, very good, smart. I expected everybody will say at the same time. Okay, so only water, right? Remember that? Will be reabsorbed. When the fluid passes through the ascending limb, who is reabsorbed? Sodium, potassium, chloride. Remember that? No water. Now, the fluid is continuously passing through the loop of Henle because filtration, blood is going there, filtration is occurring continuously. So, fluid is continuously passing through the loop of Henle. And water here is being continuously reabsorbed. Now, vasa recta is the capillary. So, through the capillary, blood is continuously passing like this. Blood is continuously passing through the capillary, right? And fluid is continuously passing through the vasa recta. Make sense? And you see here, the fluid is going this way and blood is going this way. So what? Opposite, right? Counter current. The flow is in opposite direction. That's why it is called counter current flow. Anyway, so now water gets out from the loop of Henle, descending limb, and immediately is taken into the blood because the vasa recta is just beside the loop of Henle. So blood is leaving here, entering here. Water is leaving here, entering. Water is quickly being removed from this area. So blood is going out, which is very important. Now just think that if there is no vasa recta here, water is going out, right? And after a few minutes, what will happen? A lot of water will accumulate here because blood is not taking it away, right? So edema will occur, right? Water pressure will go up here. No more water will get out. Make sense? Very simple, right? If water accumulates outside here, no more water will be able to get out. So that's why the blood is flowing just beside it and taking that water and taking it out quickly. So very important for continuous reabsorption of water. That vasa recta is very important. Here, same thing. Sodium, chloride, potassium are continuously getting out and they are entering into the blood here. So will not accumulate in this area. So the urine formation will occur continuously. So that's the counter current mechanism of urine formation that takes place between the loop of Henle and the vasa recta. The flow is in opposite direction. And now also you see here, when the water gets out, the concentration here increases, right? And highest concentration is here, you must remember. So concentration is going up as the fluid is going down. Here, water is getting in. So in the blood, the concentration is going down because water is being added there. Okay? So opposite. Same thing here. Sodium, potassium, chloride getting out. So concentration is going down this way. But they are entering into the blood. So blood concentration is going up. So everything is opposite. So this is a very important system that is needed for the formation of urine formation. Just remember what I said here. Now you see here, just 3 minutes ago I mentioned the concentration here is 100 to 300 milliosmol. Here, if you go all the way deep to the loop of Henle, 1200 to 1400 milliosmol, right? Remember that? 1200 to 1400, very high, several times. Now, you see how the nephrons are inside the kidney. So this is the pyramid, you must remember, and loop of Henle, the lowest point of loop of Henle is here. So, you see the concentration they have shown here, in the outer part, that means this part of the kidney. This is the cortex of the kidney, this is the medulla of the kidney. So in the cortical part, the concentration, if you take a drop of fluid from here, it is low. If you take a drop of fluid from here, it is very high. As you go deeper towards the medulla, the concentration increases because nephrons, millions of nephrons are here. So if you take fluid from here high, fluid from here low. Makes sense, right? Urinary bladder. You know that urinary bladder is located in the pelvic cavity here, and the bladder stores the urine from few to several hours. So that's the function of the bladder. Now, inside the urinary bladder, if you see inside the bladder, you will find 3 openings. I'm looking inside. So 2 are for the ureters. From the kidney, you know that ureters bring the urine into the bladder. So these 2 are the openings for the ureters, and there is another opening here for the urethra. So you have 3 openings inside the bladder. 2 are for the urine to arrive, and 1 is that's the urethral opening for the urine to get out. So these are ureteral opening, ureteral openings, and this is the urethral opening. Now, if you just see the area between these 3 openings inside the kidney, it is like a funnel. This is just one side, so like this. And this funnel is called trigon. So trigon is a funnel-shaped area between 3 openings inside the bladder, and if you see the surface of this funnel, it is very smooth, not rough, smooth surface. And the rest part inside the bladder, the surface is rough. There are many foldings, like inside the stomach, you have seen that. That is called rugae. Those foldings are called rugae. Okay, so that's inside the bladder. Now, if I see the wall of the urinary bladder, you have smooth muscle in the wall, and that smooth muscle has a name. So the smooth muscle in the wall of the bladder is known as detrusor muscle, called as detrusor muscle. So the smooth muscle in the wall is called detrusor muscle. Okay, and another thing here you need to know is the lining. The epithelial lining here inside the bladder, this lining is transitional. Why transitional? Because you must remember transitional epithelial lining. Why transitional? Because transitional epithelium does not allow any fluid to pass through it. So when the urine is staying here for a few to several hours, no urine will be able to go back into the body, because transitional doesn't allow the fluid pass through it. That is very important. Otherwise, when the urine is staying there few to several hours, a lot of urine will go back, right, through the wall. That will not make no sense, because once urine is produced, it should get out from the body, not to get back into the body, because urine contains toxic chemicals, right? Don't want it to go back. So transitional epithelium. Another property of transitional is transitional epithelial lining can expand and squeeze, and by changing the shape of the cells, that's why it is called transitional, right? The cells change their shape. So when the urinary bladder is full, the cells get flat and stress out, and when empty, it squeezes, become more columnar. So those are two important properties of transitional. Can absorb pressure because it can expand, and number two, does not allow the urine or fluid to get back into the body. Now, inside the abdominal cavity, you must remember everything is covered by the peritoneum. So what happens, this is in the urinary bladder is in the lower part of the pelvic cavity here. So peritoneum, that membrane comes like this and covers the top part of the bladder and goes back like this. So this is the abdominal cavity. So you know that abdominal cavity is covered by peritoneum. So peritoneum comes like this down, goes down and covers the top part of the bladder and then goes back. This is peritoneum. So now if you see the wall of the bladder, only in the top part you have an outermost layer, that is the peritoneum, peritoneum, which is actually present only in the upper surface of the bladder. Urethra, the last part of the urinary system, and this part, only this part is different in male and female. Male urethra is much longer than the female urethra. Female urethra is 3 to 4 centimeter, and male urethra is very long, 15 to 20 centimeter. Okay, so female urethra is short, male urethra is much longer. Now, if you see the urethra, it has two sphincters. One is here, another is here. So this is the internal urethral sphincter, and this one is external urethral sphincter. So two sphincters are there in the urethra. Very important, because urine is always here inside the bladder. If there is no sphincter, urine will get out. Sometimes you know that sphincter, this muscle gets weak when we get old, so we cannot hold the urine. If due to any paralysis, if this muscle is not working, then the person will not be able to hold the urine. So very important, right? Now, when we decide that we will urinate, these sphincters must get open, right? Relax to let the urine get out, not always, when we decide that we will urinate. So what happens, remember, this internal and this is external. So external is a skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle. Internal is a smooth muscle. So two different types of muscle. We all know that skeletal muscle is voluntary. We can control. We can regulate the skeletal muscles, right? So when we decide that we will urinate, we voluntarily, first we do what? We voluntarily relax the external urethral sphincter, which is skeletal muscle. So we relax it, so opening gets bigger. Then when this sphincter gets open, a signal goes to the spinal cord, and from the spinal cord a signal comes down because we cannot open this. So spinal cord has to do that. So spinal cord, you know, smooth muscle is involuntary, right? So spinal cord will send signal here and will relax the internal. Make sense? So which one we can control? The external one. We cannot control this one. That's why signal goes from here to the spinal cord, and then from the spinal cord signal goes there to open that. So when both are open, the urine gets out. Okay. So that's how the sphincters work. Now the last thing, male urethra has 3 parts and 3 different epithelial lining. First, let's talk about the epithelial lining. You know that urinary bladder has the transitional epithelial lining. So what happens? This transitional lining of the bladder continues into the first part of urethra. So this part, very first small part of urethra has transitional that comes from the bladder, comes down from the bladder. Then most part is pseudostratified ciliated columnar. So ciliated columnar. And only the end part, this part, is stratified squamous because this is the end part of the urethra, and the chance of getting exposed to air or friction is high here. So you know, I have mentioned many times before, where the chance of friction or getting exposed is high, that part is stratified squamous. So makes sense. So it's not difficult to remember. This is transitional, so it continues. So first part of urethra is transitional. Last part, chance of getting exposed to air or friction is high, so stratified squamous. The middle part is ciliated column. Is that clear? Okay. Probably I said 3 to 5. It varies. It's a different books, different. Just remember 3 to 5 is fine. Centimeter. Female urethra. Okay, male urethra is 15 to 20 centimeter long and has 3 parts: prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, and spongy urethra. First part is the prostatic urethra because this part is inside the prostate, passes through the prostate, and it is 2.5 centimeter long. Second part is very short, shortest part, about 2 centimeter long. This is called the membranous urethra. Why this part is called the membranous urethra? Let's see the first part first. Your prostate is under the bladder. Probably some of you already know. The prostate is under the bladder. So prostatic part. And then you have a membrane here. Diaphragm. That is called urogenital diaphragm. In your body you have 2 diaphragms. One is big, you know, here under the lungs, right? Diaphragm. There is another one here. That's the smaller one. That is called urogenital diaphragm. So, urogenital diaphragm is here. That is another diaphragm you have in your body. So, the part is surrounded by the urogenital diaphragm. This is the membranous part of the urethra. Inside the prostate, prostatic part of urethra. This is the prostate. And then the spongy part inside the shaft of the penis. So that's the longest part. Okay. So 3 parts of the urethra. Here you see the same thing I showed just under the bladder. You have the prostate, and inside the prostate, prostatic urethra. inside the urogenital diaphragm, that flat muscle. We have the membranous, and the last part is the spongy, which is inside the penis. So those are the parts of the urethra, male urethra. Okay. So that's all about the urinary system. Remember, understanding urinary system